This is a 2022 Harley-Davidson Pan America. Now, I have ridden one of these before, but it was all focused on off-road. I've never really spent some time riding it on-road. And in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You guys stick around for the end of the video. I'll give it a chase score and we'll see how it lands on the leaderboard. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Welcome to First Ride. Sounds like a beast to me. You know what also sounds like a beast? Listening to your music in your car, because it sounds fantastic and you can talk shit with your buddies. Discount right over there. Alrighty guys, that's what it looks like and that's what it sounds like. Now, before we get on this customized beast, we got to thank a sponsor of this video, which is Chaseontwowheels.
This thing gives you a full smart dash with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got a bright waterproof touchscreen, built-in GPS, tire pressure monitoring, and even a dash cam system. So everything you need, navigation, music, safety, it's all right at your fingertips. Honestly, that's my favorite part. I don't have to fumble with my phone or try to punch in my passcode just to change a song or change the routing on my GPS. I can just control everything right from my bars, which makes long rides so much smoother and safer. I've actually been using Chaseontwowheels' AIO system for a while now. I've got the AIO 5 on my MT10 and I've got the AIO 6 on my Tenere 700. That's actually one of the things I love the most about this new system is that it can be swapped from bike to bike. So soon I'm going to be putting the setup on my MT10 so that way I can just swap my AIO 6 from my Tenere 700 over to my MT10 and I can always use the same setup. If you guys want to upgrade your cockpit, Chaseontwowheels actually giving my viewers 10% off the AIO 6 series. Just use my code CHASE10 at checkout at chiggy.com/chaseontwowheels. I promise you guys, once you try this thing, you are never going to be able to ride without it. Speaking of riding, let's get on this bike.
Alrighty guys, thank y'all for sitting through the ad. Fun fact, this is your daily reminder. If you enjoy these videos but you don't like ads, we actually offer ad-free first rides if you join the membership here on YouTube. That way you guys don't got to sit through the ads, and let's be honest, you guys lose $1 a month. It's super cheap, but it goes a long way to help out us making the highest quality motorcycle reviews we possibly can for you guys. Now, you guys are going to notice this bike does not look like a regular Pan America. If we come over here, this motorcycle, as you guys are going to see in a second, has over 20,000 miles on it, and this bike has been used. So when my buddy Jeff told me they had a Pan America, I was like, dude, I've certainly done a Pan America first ride before because I did a whole off-road series with them. To my surprise, I have never done a first ride on a Harley-Davidson Pan America. I know. I don't know how that happened. It slipped through the cracks somehow, but here we are. And this one's going to be interesting because we're going to be riding a motorcycle that's 20,000 miles in. This is very much a used motorcycle. We can see the aftermarket exhaust. We can see the highway pegs. We can see the aftermarket lights. We got the Barkbuster handlebars. We've got a lot of customization on the tail. Things have just been cut away and removed. We have a lived wheel. That wheel has seen a lot of interesting things in its life. So this will be very interesting first ride. I'm very excited. Let's get on this thing and see what the Pan America is all about. And they even have a quad lock installed. How convenient. Although they've got a weird setup here. Alrighty guys, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and I have barely bent legs on this motorcycle. This is the Special with the electronic suspension, so when I turn it on and get going, the bike will rise up. It will release preload. It's got all the preload taken out, so it will be as low as possible here. Or preload added? Whatever the math is. Okay, so we have ride modes. Let's look at these real quick because they are going to matter with what we're doing today. Rider customization, ride modes. All right, so we've got Rain Road Sport. We don't need Off-Road or Off-Road Plus. We don't need Custom A. We don't need Custom B. So guys, this is one of those motorcycles that has a ton of modes, a ton of electronics, and this is a road review. So we're only going to be in Rain. We will then go to Road, and then we will then go to Sport. So that's how we're going to go today. We're currently in Rain mode. Perfect. And we will get the bike cranked up. Look at that, 21,622 miles. Absolutely insane. Alrighty, guys. With all that being said, let's go do a first ride. Also, if you guys want notifications about what videos we put out every week, we have a C2W newsletter. We email you once a week, just letting you know what's going on around the channel. So if you want to check that out, totally free. Links in the comments. Alright, guys. Not a quick shifter on this motorcycle, but let's get it going. I'm still trying to get over the fact that I've never done a first ride of one of these on the road. I cannot get over that I slipped through that. So my apologies, guys. And I imagine most of you guys that are looking into this motorcycle are going to know the competitors, but this bike's coming into a class that has some major players. You're looking at the Multistrada V4 from Ducati. You're looking at the GOAT, the BMW 1250 GS, or 1300 GS these days. You're looking at the Triumph 1200 Tiger. It has a Honda Africa Twin. There's so many really big, really expensive, but really nice motorcycles. So the bar is really high here. I should also note, guys, that all the experience that I have on a Pan America is almost entirely off-road. I've done a series with a buddy of mine where we went and rode these things in North Dakota, but we rode them almost exclusively off-road. So this will be my first real time on-road with this. And it is the first ride. You guys know how we do this thing. Let's start out with the body position on the Pan America. So super comfortable seat. It's not crazy wide, but it's exactly wide enough as it needs to be to hold my full butt. My legs are actually underneath me in a I would say my legs have a comfortable bend in them. My upper half is leaned forward a little bit, and I've got a pretty high set of handlebars here. I really like this position. It feels a little more aggressive than other big ADV bikes, but I like how the seat is really comfortable but tapers in and allows me to get a really good grab on the tank. And with my legs being located where they are, I can very easily stand up on the motorcycle. So I really like the position, and the rear seat actually does a double duty of holding me into this seat. So I think Harley did an amazing job with the body position. I really am a fan of that. We're gonna hit this mode button and go into road mode, and that way we should have God. Yep, we have more power now, if you couldn't tell by the bike lurching forward. Good God. Alright, guys, let's talk about what's powering this thing, because it is a Harley-Davidson, but it is not being powered by a typical Harley engine. The Pan America, along with the Sportster S, are powered by Harley's 1250cc V-twin. They call it the Rev Max engine. This thing's good for about 150 horsepower, 94 foot-pounds of torque, and this bike specifically is coming in at a weight of around 560 pounds, I believe, and a price point of $20,000, at least when it was brand new. Let's not get stuck behind a car turning, even though I still got to stop. Actually, yeah, road ends. We'll stay there. You guys can see by the little suspension icon, we have that automatic ride height adjuster going on. So that way, when I'm slowing down to a stop, it's going to lower the motorcycle by adjusting the preload, and then when we get going, it'll raise the bike back up to where it needs to be. It's very, very fancy, and if I understand correctly, Harley was the first brand to bring that to market, which is a genius move on Harley's part, and now most of the big ADV bikes do that. I am noticing here to stop, the foot peg is exactly where my boot wants to be. It's not quite as bad as the Tracer 9, but it's close. Also, I am so going to try out those highway pegs. I am so excited for that. So guys, let's talk city performance with the Pan Am. This is where somehow these big ADV bikes are so nice. Now granted, this thing weighs mid 500 pounds. Now, as far as lane changing and stuff like that, you are going to notice this motorcycle takes some energy to get into the lane. I don't know if you guys could tell by me changing lanes just then, but it is going to take some energy to get this thing moving in the right direction. It's not going to be this quick little nimble thing, but that kind of goes for a lot of the bigger motorcycles, the bigger ADV style bikes. I will say this is probably I don't want to say the least flickable, but it's behind a little bit in the flicking department at lower speed. I actually remember riding a BMW 1250 GS recently, and I was shocked at how flickable that bike is. And it's not that this bike isn't flickable and can't do it, but it just takes a little bit of energy and then some time. It's almost like you put a direction change in, and then a click later, the bike actually initiates that turn, if that makes sense at all. Overall, I do really love the body position of this bike for city riding though. As you guys can see with my chest kind of upright, I can very easily do head checks. Makes it super simple for me to stay like up to speed with what's going on around me. I also really like the control that I have with the wide handlebars. It makes me feel like I have a lot of good control over the motorcycle in these environments, and in the city is where you're gonna have random stuff happen to you that you got to be real careful of. So that's gonna be where you're gonna have like, oh no, I have to avoid insert random stupid thing that pops out in front of me. I think there's also something to be said about riding a bigger motorcycle around cars. It just makes me feel like I'm seeing a little more. Let's see if we can get around this bus. This is gonna make it interesting. Please, bus, don't go. I need to get in that far right lane. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want you guys thinking you can't whip this thing around. You definitely can. It just takes some energy. Jesus, man, it has, you guys got to be careful with the Rev Max. I think a lot of people sleep on the Rev Max engine, but guys, 150 horsepower and almost 100 foot-pounds of torque. This thing is a monster, and I'm in road mode. This thing has so much power. When you give it throttle, you can feel the rear squat down. I'm really interested in what the 40 to 80 pull is going to feel like, because that's going to be fascinating. I will note that as I'm shifting through the gears, maybe because the shifter is set up a little high, this guy obviously did some off-roading on this bike, and maybe I'm not hitting the shifter enough, but the bike's not really wanting to go into a gear seamlessly and easily. Just something I'm noticing as I'm, in the city setting. Down's not bad, but up, it's kind of sluggish to get into gear. So it's making me feel like it's because of the shifter. I'm not kicking it up enough or something. Can't fault the guy for setting his bike up for off-road use. You guys see that? The bike just lurching back. God, this bike has so much power. I don't think a lot of people expect it if they go ride this thing around. We also got to get in that left lane. So overall for the city, I think road mode is way too much power, but it does make it for a fun experience. You just got to keep in mind, this is a big bike with a big amount of power, so it's not going to be a light flicky thing. But it does match. The power does match the weight and the presence of the motorcycle. And while we're slowing down, let's get it into sport mode. And if sport mode is anything on this motorcycle like my Sportster S was, this is about to be fascinating. All right, we're doing it. Oh, we're getting the green. All right, guys, we got a 40 to 80 pull to do. Oh, we're going to get the yellow? This is perfect. I don't have to slow anybody down and feel bad about it. All right, guys, we got to find out how fast a 2022 Harley-Davidson Pan America Special will go from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. I think it's a first gear situation. I really hope that this has wheelie control. I think it does, but we're about to really find out. Oh gosh, I'm kind of nervous. On your mark, get set, go. Oh, traction control! It revs too fast! It revs way too fast! What was that time? Also, I'm sorry, Harley-Davidson, for making such a terrible time. I didn't expect this thing to rev faster than my R6 that I used to have. Holy shit, this thing went from 4,000 to 9,000 at the blink of an eye. Oh my God. Whatever that time is, it could have been better. I redlined twice. Holy shit. All right, transitioning. Jesus. So one of the cool things about this motorcycle, it is a touring focused bike. So if we pull this little lever in, we can increase the height of that windscreen, and that is a huge difference. Holy crap. The wind is going totally over my head. That is so incredibly comfortable. Nice freaking job there. I don't love how much that windscreen is shaking about, but it's blocking a lot of wind, which is nice. The only wind I can really feel at this point is a little bit on my shoulders, but that's about it. Comfort-wise, the bike is a little shaky going on right now. I can feel it all over the bike, the handlebars, the seat. It's not the smoothest right now, and I'm in 6th gear going just over 4,000 RPM. I am able to hit the cruise control and set it. Works a peach. I'm getting blown around a little bit. We'll rotate forward on the throttle. That does disengage cruise control. Love that. Let's try these highway pegs, dude. I've never had highway pegs on a motorcycle. Oh my God. Bro. Dude, no wonder this guy has 21,000 miles on his bike. If this thing was smoother, this would be the vibe. Highway pegs just chilling, eating miles alive with the cruise control on. Oh, dude, I love that. And then you can just look at that. Flick it up, I'm done. Oh, dude, I'm getting those on my Tenere 700, 100%. All right, guys, overall, super solid on the highway. The only real issue I see here is the shakiness and the vibing. You know, the bike's tracking super fine. It's got plenty of power. It's got ample power to do highway and, you know, dumb stuff. Yeah, got cruise control, got weather protection, get some highway pegs on some bars, and you're set. I just wish it was a little softer on the, you know, less shaky, less vibey from that engine. Although it is a Harley, so how much of that should I expect? After that, dude, not surprised seeing the mileage on this bike. I was surprised at first, but now after seeing that, I'm not at all. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. I could do those miles as well. I will say the seat being so soft and comfortable does really help with the shaking that the bike experiences. Now I'm wanting to try out one of those Harley Pan America STs. You know, the road focus thing. I bet that thing's fantastic. Let's get the shield down. Let's get it leaned over. We got off-road tires here, so we're going to be a little careful. We got a truck, so we can only do so much. You know, I don't really mind the weight and throwing this thing over. Those wide handlebars really helps kind of handle the larger weight of the motorcycle. I don't mind throwing this thing around at all. I would happily take this thing to the canyons or to the mountains. God, you give it some throttle and it's just so incredibly happy. Are we going to skip all these people? Are we going to be that guy? Maybe the Pan Am just wants to be ridden harder. The harder I ride it, the better the transmission feels. Domain glass guy. God, you ruined the green light pull. What are you doing? That is not what somebody does trying to push the green. Bro, you just give it throttle and it'll do the work from there. We gotta chill. All right, we can't be in sport mode. I can't get a ticket on a first ride of an ADV bike. It's just unacceptable. God, the Rev Max engine is so freaking good. Harley came out of nowhere with that thing, and it is so fun to throttle that thing up and just give it a handful. You gotta be careful, but it's nice. Suspension wise on this thing, guys, I would like it to be a little softer to maybe help out with all the vibration, but maybe the suspension wouldn't really affect that, and maybe that's just a vibration of the engine, which is, I guess, kind of a downfall. Power I love. Suspension's very neat. I love the electronics of it. Don't love the shaking, but I don't know what that's from. So I will have to leave that as a question mark on what could be adjusted there. Also, bro, for a big ADV bike, Jesus Christ, this thing revs fast. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't remember my Sportster S revving that fast, so I'm like, is the Pan America, like, different? Like, is it tuned differently? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, but I guess I'm just surprised at how different it's tuned. You know, something else I'm noticing from going from all the red lights, it has a very easy and smooth clutch engagement zone. So the bike just gets into gear from using the clutch, and it just softly gets going. I wouldn't have expected that to be that soft and kind of smooth. That's kind of impressive. This bike begs to be ridden. I'm gonna get stuck again. What is going on? Does this frustrate you guys when like cars just make a blockade and you can't go anywhere? And I'm just gonna sit here. I'm stuck, can't do anything. Overall, I would really say this bike feels better the more sporty you ride it. It's giving me one of those bikes, which kind of puts it in the multi-strada territory. Wouldn't have expected that from Harley. Let's check out these Brembo brakes. Lot of front dive. I'm surprised with electronic suspension. I would have expected the front dive not to be as bad, but that is not the situation we are in, my friends. Good feel on the brakes, though. I am happy about that. Whoa, we are stopping. Goodness gracious. What is going on here? Hey, let's take advantage and stand up. There's something with a light on the top blocking the way. Is this dude painting the lines? He pulled off. He's got a job to do, everybody. That thing's got to be interesting to ride. No first ride available on that thing. So, guys, let's talk about the cluster up here. We got another one of those things. What are these guys? Let's talk about the controls up here, guys. We are looking at a bike with 20,000 miles on it. And as far as the controls, I really can't tell they weren't just as new or looking good as the ones on my Sportster S. So these controls that Harley's putting on here are holding up really well. That's awesome to see, especially on a bike like this one that's clearly had some life. You know what I mean? This thing has lived. Everything's holding up good. I'm getting good clicks from all the buttons. What is going on today? What in the hell? All right, I gotta keep my wits about me, guys. So I'll do my best here. But yeah, guys, all the controls look really good. We do have Brembo levers. We have adjustable levers as well. Super nice. Love the feel of the levers. Love the shape of them as well. The screen, super cool. This is the same screen that Harley's been using and still using, I believe. It's 6.8 inch color TFT display. Works super well. Has all sorts of menus that you can go all through. So that's sick. Harley did a really good job with this screen, but Harley does a good job with a lot of their screens. So I've got no issues there. Overall, I really like these controls. I liked them on my Sportster S. I'm really familiar with them. And I'm honestly surprised that they feel just as good as the ones on my Sportster S did that only had a few thousand miles. So anybody that's worried about the longevity of at least the controls on the bike, you don't got to worry about that at all, it seems. I don't think I hit on it. Really happy with the brake lever. A lot of front dive, but I do get a strong amount of braking, and I have some feel in that lever when I'm pulling on it, which is really nice. I do have to pull on it quite a bit to really get it engaged, but I could adjust that with the lever, so I'm not too worried about that. And then the clutch is surprisingly light for such a big motorcycle, so just something to keep in mind there. I will say this thing seems like it wants to pop off. Talking about the screen real quick, guys, you can go through here, go into the settings, and you can just very easy change everything about this. With the rider modes, you can go in here and customize these modes here. You guys can see the little, oh, it's a touch screen. Oh, that's cool. Copy to another mode? No. Engine, oh, dude, you can change everything. Wow, that's really responsive. That's actually really impressive. What happens if I go over there? Okay, cool. We're going to get out of all that. I didn't realize that was a touch screen. That is very responsive to what I was doing. Nice job on that. How did I ride the Pan Am so much and I didn't know that the screen was touchscreen? Or maybe I forgot. Who knows? Alrighty, guys. I think I've touched on a lot of the major things of this motorcycle, so it's time to give this thing a chase score.
Alrighty, guys, let's do the chase score for the 2021 Harley-Davidson Pan America. For throttle response, I'm going to give this thing an 8. That RevMax engine snaps to attention and revs insanely fast, giving you big power the moment you twist the throttle. For agility, I'm going to give the bike a 6. It can be hustled, but it takes commitment and effort compared to the more nimble ADV competitors that it has. For the brakes, I'm going to give it a 7. It's got those strong Brembos corners with good feel, though the front end dives more than expected for electronic suspension. For acceleration, I'm giving this thing an 8. That mid-roll punch is borderline shocking for a big ADV, especially in sport mode. For suspension, I'm going to give it a 6. The auto ride height system is neat, but overall it's a bit shaky and not as plush as others in its class. For comfort, I'm going to give the bike a 6. The seat, the cruise control, and the highway pegs help a lot, but vibrations from the engine are really holding it back. For tech, this thing's getting an 8. It's got excellent electronics package with a responsive touchscreen and deep ride mode customization. For ease of use, I'm going to give the bike a 5. It's got that smooth clutch and good controls, but the overall weight, the height, and the quirky kickstand work against it for new riders especially. For versatility, this thing's getting an 8. It's solid on road, shockingly good off-road, and feature-rich enough to pull double duty across conditions. And fun for the money, I'm going to give it a 6. As a used ADV, it's still got strong value, but the rivals offer more refinement per dollar. And guys, that's going to give a total ride score of 35, a total usability score of 33, for a total chase score of 68.
Alrighty guys, that's the chase score of the 2022 Harley-Davidson Pan America Street Review. You guys let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my chase score. Love to have conversations with you guys in the comments there. So guys, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is a very competitive class. You're spending a lot of money, $20,000 brand new, for this motorcycle, and it's got to really deliver. Now, I will say my off-road opinion of this motorcycle is I love it. It has some incredible features for off-road riding. One of the things I really hate about this bike and a lot of the other Harleys is their kickstand. It is not confidence-inspiring at all and makes you real sketchy if your kickstand is down correctly. If Harley does anything in the future, it is to change their kickstand design. Please, for the love of whatever you find holy, please change that from a non-Harley owner currently. Just saying. Now, for the street review of this motorcycle, I would say it kind of sits in the middle throughout the entire range. I think the Multistrada V4, while it's a little more expensive, offers a much better sporty big bike experience. That bike is just a monster. It is insane. And then when it comes to maneuverability, I feel like the BMW GS feels like it weighs nothing. They have the weight so low in that bike. The suspension feels so soft. So for long touring and comfort, I'm going BMW, but this is more comfortable. I don't know. I think if you're gonna go with the Pan America, in my opinion, you are a fan of Harley, which is cool, awesome, and you like the look of this motorcycle, and I think that's really where you're gonna go. I do think this bike comes in a little cheaper than its competitor, so if you're trying to save a little money, maybe go in that direction. But if you're going to go real sporty, I would go the Multistrada V4 or V4S. If you want to go real comforty and real touring, I would go with the GS 1250 or I can't say the 1300 because I haven't ridden that yet. But I love the 1250 GS. If I was to pick a big ADV bike right now, I'm a GS guy. I was just so impressed by that motorcycle. And this bike is just not quite where that bike is. But I think this bike offers a ton of stuff, especially for the price. So if you guys like the way it looks, all I can say is get some highway pegs. You will not regret it at all. Also guys, before we wrap up, big shout out to Mountain Motorsports. They allowed us to ride this bike for this first ride for you guys today. So we'll have a bike provided by link in the description down below. If you guys want to give them some love, that would be much appreciated. Let them know you appreciate them loaning us bikes so we can make first rides for you guys. If you guys have a buddy that is looking for a Pan America, make sure to share this video with them. I'm Chaseontwowheels. You guys go enjoy riding on whatever you're riding out there. I appreciate you guys watching and riding around with me. I'll see you on the next one. Later.